Hi, and welcome to MG2150 Fundamentals of Management. My name is Miss Cade, and I am one of the UMA instructors for this course. This course is an introduction to management and management concepts, but before we jump into it, I bet you want to know who is Miss Cade. I'm from Detroit, born and raised. I have one grown daughter who's 25. I know it's hard to believe. Yes, I have a daughter who's 25. She just finished her master's program from University of Texas in Austin. So I'm really excited about that, even though 2020 I wasn't able to see her walk the stage, but that's okay. I have been in healthcare since 1997. And 8 of those years I spent delivering care to enlisted personnel in the Navy as a hospital corpsman. And that's where my love for healthcare grew. I knew then that that was something that I would do for years to come. And it has been. It's 97. It's been a while now. When I got out, I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, because why go back to Detroit, right? And my best friend lived here. And no, she doesn't live here anymore. And I've been here ever since. I love the weather. The sun keeps me energized, and the hurricanes are not that bad. I was introduced to the teaching as a side hustle back in 2008. Yeah, just wanted some extra cash, so I figured, hey, why not? But I have to tell you, I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I do. And I've been an instructor with UMA since 2010. So again, I must love it. I've been doing it for so long. Now, back to MG 2150. This is a great course for an intro to management. I know that for some of you, the information is new, while others, they're familiar with management terms and concepts. But don't fret, because whatever category you belong to, those who've had some knowledge or those who this all of this is new, you'll still learn so much from this course. Now, as we go on, I'm going to take you through some PowerPoints. It's going to have a lot of information on there. And don't worry, you don't have to take any notes. You can watch it as many times as you need to, but sit back and enjoy because we're going to have a little bit of fun with this as well. So I just want you to know that I'm so excited for you to be here with me. I'm so excited that you chose UMA as your school of choice. And again, welcome to MG 2150. So we're moving right along into the learning objectives for part of this week. Remember that your weekly reading assignment includes chapters 1 and 2. Right now, we're focusing on chapter 1. And after studying this particular chapter, you should be able to define management, describe the kinds of managers found in organizations, identify and explain the 4 basic management functions, describe the fundamental management skills, and comment on management as a science and art. Number 2, justify the importance of history and theory to managers, and explain the evolution of management through the classical, behavioral, and quantitative perspectives. Identify and discuss key contemporary management perspectives represented by the systems and contingency perspectives, and identify the major challenges and opportunities faced by managers today. That's the final one. So here we are, we have some key terms here. We have organization and management. So organization is a group of people working together in a structured and coordinated fashion to achieve a set of goals. So an example of an organization would be an organization that I've worked for. I've worked for HCA, which is Hospital Corporation of America, and they have hospitals located all over. So it's a group of people that was structured to achieve a set of goals. Then you have management, which is a set of activities including planning and decision making organizing, leading, and controlling, directed at the organization's resources like human resources, financial resources, physical resources, and informational resources with the aim of achieving the organizational goals in an efficient and effective manner. Now, what does that really mean? That means that it's the people within the organization, the managers, the custodians, the IT folks, all of those people working together to achieve the overall goals of the organization. Another term is manager, someone whose responsibility is to carry out the management process. Or we can say that a manager is a person responsible for controlling or administering all or part of the company or similar organization. Someone who controls activities, business dwellings, and all aspects of, in this case, healthcare. So when you become a manager, as I like to tell the employees that work under me, I am responsible for everything in this office. That goes from the roof all the way down to when they leave out of the office. It is the manager's responsibility. It can sometimes be a little bit stressful. However, I tell you that in the end, it's such a rewarding job. Here are some things that I would like you to think about. Leader. Is a leader the same as being a manager? You know, sometimes we use those words interchangeably. And let me tell you, the main difference between leaders and managers is that leaders have people follow them while managers have people who work for them. Can you be a leader and a manager? I believe so. I believe you can work those two terms interchangeably, depending on the situation. A successful business needs to be both a strong leader and manager to get their team on board to follow their vision towards success. So, a successful manager would need to have some sort of leadership skills. Because remember, you're given the information from the higher ups, the VPs, the executive directors, um, and they're giving you the insight and the vision for how they want to accomplish a goal. And you have to disseminate that and get everyone on board that's under you so they can achieve that goal. So here we are, we're discussing the levels of management. So you have three levels of management. You have first line managers, they supervise, coordinate the activities of operating employees, spend a large portion of their time supervising the work of their subordinates. And usually, when you are just getting into the field and you brand new, still got the milk behind your ears, you come in as a first line manager. Then there's middle managers. They implement policies and plans developed by top managers, supervise and coordinate the activities of lower level managers. So I would be considered a middle manager. So I have to make sure that uh, as the ambulatory administrator for these multiple sites that I'm in charge of, I have to make sure that things are being done according to the policies that are in place. And if there's any issues, referring them back to the policies to ensure that the next move they make or the move that wasn't made, that we discuss it and we correct it by maybe implementing a new work plan or a new work plan, or just educating the staff again on what the policies and procedures are. Then you have the top managers. Those are the ones who manage the overall organization. The CFO, the COO, the CEO, and in our case, because I work in healthcare, we have the deans, and we have the executive providers that's over all of the providers in the organization. So what they do is they get together and they come up with these different visions, these goals, and they strategize on how we're going to make this happen. And once that information is given, and you know what they say, it rolls down the hill. They send it down through the middle managers, and the middle managers have to disseminate that information to the first line managers. And the first line managers, which I consider the first line managers very important, they're the ones who are going to take that information and they're going to coordinate, supervise, and get the staff to do all of the work. I hate to put it like that, but the first line managers are very, very important in this whole structure here. They're very important because without them, the work would not get done. So as you see the figure, you see the first line managers, and they're managers in every level here, every department or system within the organization. Because if we can look at this, is that the top managers is the umbrella. It's part That's the organization really, and everyone else falls under. They're the systems, the marketing, finance, operations, human resource management. And you see at the bottom that the first line managers basically hold the triangle together. They're very important. And as you go up the different levels of management, you will see that it gets smaller and smaller. So first line managers in marketing, and then they have to report to the marketing director who reports to someone else at the top. So that's all this is showing you, the areas, the different areas of management and the levels of management as well. Managing in different areas of organization. What you need to know is that regardless of their level, managers may work in various areas within an organization. In any given firm, these areas may include marketing, finance, operations, human resources, administrative, and others. So just have to remember that many organizations have specialized management positions in addition to those described. The management process. So this figure is just telling you how the management process goes, and you see how it goes from planning to organizing to leading to controlling. But you can see that it can go from leading to controlling, or controlling to organizing, or planning to leading. So it's all there. Regardless of the level of or area, management involves the four basic functions of planning and decision making: organizing, leading, and controlling. So let's break this down just a little bit. In the simplest forms, planning means setting an organization's goals and deciding how best to achieve them. And decision making, which is part of planning, because it involves selecting a course of action from a set of alternatives. Then you have organizing. And organizing is just determining how best to group activities and resources. And it's one of those things that the management function is to organize people and other resources necessary. to carry out the plan. So you you want to start a new service line in your clinic. Let's just say, in my case, I have a new nurse practitioner and I want her to do birth control in the office instead of sending the patient out. So, what all do we need to get this service line up and running? So, this we already planned and we decided that this is what we're going to do. That's the planning and decision making. Now we're organizing. How many more MAs do I need? Do we need specialized training? Do we have the equipment to do the procedure in the office? Then there's leading. That is the third basic managerial function. Some people consider leading to be both the most important and the most challenging of all managerial activities. Why is that? Because you got to motivate the members of the team. You have to keep them engaged and inspired. I'm saying inspired, but you want them to feel like they're present and they matter. So a lot of leading, and it is can be most difficult sometimes. Then there's controlling, which is the final phase of the management process. What you're doing is monitoring the organization's progress towards the goal. As the organization moves towards its goals, managers must monitor the process. Um, when we do a new advertisement and we send it out on postcards, in order for us to control or monitor the progress, we ask new patients as they're coming in for their visit, how did they hear about our clinic? Did they get the postcard that we sent? So all of these things work together. Next, we're talking about the fundamental management skills. To carry out these management functions most effectively, managers rely on a number of different fundamental management skills, and the most important are listed here: technical, interpersonal, conceptual, diagnostic skills, communication, decision making, and time management. All great skills to have, not only as a manager, but as a everyday person. You need the technical skills, which are necessary to accomplish or understand a specific kind of work that needs to be done within the organizations. Technical skills, from what I've read in your book, are skills especially important for first line managers because these managers spend much of their time training their subordinates, answering questions about work related problems. And if they want to be effective, they must know how to perform the tasks assigned to those they supervise. Meaning, how am I going to tell you how to mop the floor if I've never mopped the floor? So you need those technical skills. And I think when you say to one of your subordinates, "Hey, I'm giving you this new task, but I don't know how it's gonna go," they lose a little bit respect. Whereas you can say, "Hey, this is a new thing that I want you to do, and I know how to do it, and we're gonna sit down and I'm gonna train you on how to do it properly and correctly." They have a little bit more respect for you when you do it that way. Next is interpersonal skills. And this is when managers spend considerable time interacting with people both inside and out of the organization. So, interpersonal skills is having the ability to communicate with, understand, and motivate both individuals and group. So, you're motivating your team as a group, but you're motivating that one particular MA as an individual. So you have times where you're in a group setting and you motivate them as a group, and you have times where you're in a one-on-one setting and you have time and you can motivate them individually. I think this is where being a leader and a manager comes into play. Then you have conceptual skills. That's the manager's ability to think in the abstract. Again, that's just thinking and seeing things with the big picture in mind. So the big picture, when I talk about that, is the organizational's goal and what we need to do to help the organization achieve those goals. So I'm always thinking the big picture. A perfect example of this is the budget. You know, each clinic is given a budget, and we try to maintain and stay within that budget. So the goal is to stay within the budget for the entire organization. And what can we do? Our little role. What can we do to save the organization money in the long run? Then you have diagnostic skills. For managers to be successful, they need to possess these kind of skills, which enable them to visualize the most appropriate response to a situation. Being able to make a decision on the spot, but being able to break that decision down within your mind and saying, if I do it this way, this is the outcome, or if I do it this way, this is the outcome. You have to have those kind of skills. You have to not only see a problem, but when you see a problem, you recognize the problem, have a solution to that problem. Next is the communication skills. That's when the manager's ability both to effectively convey ideas and information to others and effectively receive ideas and information from others. Remember, communication is a two-way street. You should be able to give information and to receive information. That's very, very important. So these skills enable a manager to transmit ideas to subordinates so they know what is expected, to coordinate work with peers and colleagues so they know what will work together. So you always have to work on your communication skills. Myself as a manager and now an administrator, I always try to find better ways to communicate with my first line managers. Is very important. And I think, some of the way we manage and lead can be shaped by bad managers or bad leaders. You say, oh, I'm never going to be like that. Have you had that instance before where you're like, oh my God, that person sucked so bad and I'll never want to be that type of manager? So knowing that, that means you have to work on these different types of skills. They don't come naturally for everyone. Some people have great communication skills but suck at time management. Some people are great at decision making skills but don't know how to have diagnostic skills. So you have to practice them all so you can be better at what you're doing. Time management. Time management is the manager's ability to prioritize work, to work efficiently, to delegate appropriately. I don't need to add to that. We know time management is very important. So, what skills do managers need? Managers need every one of these skills. As we discussed in the last slide, a manager needs to be technical. A manager needs to be interpersonal. A manager needs to have diagnostic and decision making skills. A manager needs to have time management, communication, and conceptual skills. All of these skills are very important for the manager to be successful in ensuring that the organizational goals, because remember, we're not working for ourselves, we're working for an organization. So we need these skills in order to ensure that the organizational goals are being met. So we're going to briefly talk about the importance of theory and history. Some managers today recognize the importance of history and theory in their work. For instance, knowing the origins of their organization and the kind of practices that have led to success or failure can be indispensable tool in management contemporary organizations. So what we're going to talk about here is just why theory. Theory is a simple conceptual framework for organizing knowledge and providing a blueprint of action. That's all it is. Why history? Well, history stresses an awareness and understanding of historical developments in management. And understanding the historical content of management provides a sense of heritage and help managers avoid mistakes of others. Basically, you don't want history to repeat itself. So if you know that this person was doing this procedure or process or had a process in place and it didn't work, why would you want to continue to do it? So if you know that it didn't work for the past 10 years, then why continue? It helps you to avoid the mistakes of others. The practice of management can be tracked back thousands of years. The Egyptians used management functions of planning, organizing, and controlling when they constructed the pyramids. However, the serious study of management did not begin until the 19th century. And here are two of its pioneers. First is Robert Owen. He was a British industrialist and reformer and was one of the first managers to recognize the importance of an organization's human resource, and he expressed a concern for welfare of his workers, personal welfare of his workers. Next was Charles Babbage. He was an English mathematician and he focused his attention on efficiencies of production. So he really put his faith in the division of labor and advocated the application of mathematics to such problems as the efficient use of facilities and materials, all of which we still use today. Next is the classical management perspective. And this is when a lot of ideas and writings of these and other managers and theorists converged, and with the emergence, the evolution of large scale businesses and management practices. This created interest and focused attention on how businesses should operate. So, what happened is people like Mr. Owen or Charles Babbage got together with other people, theorists, and they was like, okay, now we need to write this stuff down. And they came up with the classic management perspective. So it consists of two distinct branches, scientific management and administrative management. Scientific is concerned with improving performance of an individual workers, and administrative is focused on managing the total organization. Again, two of which we still use today. The pioneers for the scientific management was Frederick W. Taylor. He was one of the first management consultants and helped create the scientific management. Time and motion studies and performance-based pay systems were among the innovations Taylor and his associates introduced. These are just the steps in the scientific management process. Frederick Taylor believed that it would lead to more efficient and productive workforce. The next set of scientific management pioneers is Frank and Lilia Gilbreth. Both developed techniques and strategies for eliminating inefficiencies. So this concludes the first set of um, PowerPoint slides. And just to recap, we talked about management. What is a manager? We talked about communication. We talked a little bit about time management and how important that is. We talked about leadership. We talked about the importance of theory and history. We talked about quite a bit of things in this first half hour. So now what I need you to do is turn me off and say, boy, that was a lot. And then watch it again and you'll see it follows right along on what we're learning when it comes to the fundamentals of management. I'll see you on the second set of slides. Thank you and bye.